the game, cause see the boxing voice.
Fernando Pimentel of ThaBoxingvoice.com here with the one and only Coach Eric Brown. Coach, 2015 was a great year for boxing. We got to see a lot of great fights. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, Canelo versus Cotto. We got to see Jacobs versus Quillin. We got to see many big fights. In 2015, what memories do you have of that year in boxing?
Like you said, it was like a rejuvenating of boxing. I think things are starting to come back around. I think our fans are starting to pick back up. Great matches put together, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more this year coming up. And so my best recollection is just seeing the resurgence of the popularity of the boxing sport.
Now, obviously, your team didn't end 2015 nicely. Quillin got, TKO'd. A lot of people think the ref probably stopped it early and everything. Yeah. Your thoughts and your recollection, and have you spoken to Peter since?
Oh, yeah, I talked to Pete a lot, and he's fine. He was fine when we were standing there in the ring. It was, I think it was a premature stoppage. Harvey Dock's a good referee, and he's worked some of the fights I've been involved with before. And he's done a great job, but I think maybe he just got caught up in the moment and just made a premature stop. Kid was, he got caught with a shot, no doubt. Everybody saw that, But he never went down. He never touched the floor. He never, he weathered the storm. He got some distance between him and Danny, and at the time that Harvey stopped the fight, Kid was standing there with his hands up, looking right at him. And he looked away and looked at Danny, and he turned around and looked back at Peter and stopped the fight. It's a 12-round championship fight. It's not a one-round blowout. And Danny did the right thing. He had some help from Harvey, but he knew what he wanted. His plan was. He was scared of him. I think he was personally. And I think his idea was to go out there and sell out. If he got lucky and landed a good shot on Kid, he was going to sell out and hope that the referee did just what he did, stop the fight. I just think that Harvey stopped the fight at the wrong time. If he was going to stop it, he probably should have stopped it while Danny was throwing a barrage of punches at Kid, and Kid was trying to block and slip some of them and what have you. That would have probably been the more appropriate time to stop the fight, but he didn't. And Kid started fighting back, and he got hit with a shot. He stepped off to the right, but then when he stood up, he bent over and he stood up with his hands up, and he's standing steady, looking right at the referee. The referee looked at Danny Jacobs and turned around and looked back at Kid and stopped the fight. That was, if anything, there's like a minute left in the round. If anything, a seasoned veteran referee would have let the fight go on the rest of the round to see how it unfolded. If Kid got knocked down, you give him a standing 8 count. You see where his head's at, see if he's together enough to continue. And if not, then you stop the fight. If he is, then you let the fight go on and end the round, get back to the corner and let him regroup and get back. This is boxing. This is the hurt business. People get stung. They get their bells rung from time to time. It doesn't mean it's the end of the fight. God knows, I'm sure you have seen it many times, much worse situations than what went on in that fight.
Bradley Provodnikov.
And they let the fight go on and go on and go on and go on. They never even stopped the fight. So, everybody should understand that that's the nature of the game. And if Kid had seemed like he was in that serious trouble where he needed to stop the fight, I think all of us, I'd have threw the towel in. But I know Kid, and I know how hard he trained, how hard his camp was, and how well prepared he was. So, it wasn't surprising that Danny got out there, and he's fast, he's a good boxer, and he had happened to land a good shot. Okay, you expect that, But at the same time, you don't expect to have to fight the referee and your opponent at the same time. The referee, like I said, I like Harvey. I think he's a good guy, a good referee. I just think he made a bad decision.
With all that being said, have you spoken to Kid, and would you like to see a rematch of that fight?
Of course I'd like to see a rematch of the fight. I think it's something that everybody wants to see. That's all we heard throughout the entire arena, after the stoppage. Everybody wants to see a rematch immediately because everybody looking like, what? What did you stop the fight for? You know what I mean? Like I said, it'd been one thing if Kid that got knocked down and then had to get up and was wobbly or something like that, but he never went down. He never touched his gloves on the canvas. He stood straight up, and he looked at the referee with his hands up, not down at his sides, wobbling. He was standing there solid, like this. And, I mean, it was just a bad call. So.
was the sight in the game.